Hello, and welcome to the new IEDU Day 4 Business Related English. Today's objectives are to understand that your body is talking also. Learn how to control what your body is saying through gesture, posture, and eye contact. And learn 10 rules about an interview. And we'll also go through some interview don'ts. These are related to what we did in Day 2 with this. So, let's get started. Body language. Your body is talking. When is body language important? Well, interviews, presentations, meetings, and really any high-stress setting where speaking to people is involved. About 60 to 70% of communication is through body language. It's doubly important in interviews because you are trying to make a good first impression. So let's go through and take a look at some of the things that our body is saying. What does your body say? Well, your interviewers are trained to actually read your body to see if, number one, you're telling the truth, but also to go through and find out more about your personality. They can read nervousness. Now, everyone at a job interview is probably nervous to some degree or another, but if you're overly nervous, that could be a bad sign. They can also learn to read your telltales and tell if you're lying. Now, the following thing that I'm going to go through is actually a personality test that I got online, and it was given at one point to job applicants at IBM in the United States. So this is a real interviewing test that was given, and it's a personality test, and it's supposed to say whether someone fits into the category of person you want to hire or not. So let's take a look at this. There's several slides on this personality test, and I'll go through them, and we'll kind of talk about it. First of all, number 1, when do you feel your best? Please answer these questions as I'm talking about them also, and we'll check your scores at the end. A, in the morning. B, during the afternoon and early evening. Or C, late at night. Now, obviously, depending on the work you're trying to get, if you answer late at night and you're trying to get a bank job, it might not be beneficial. Early afternoon, early evening would be an okay answer, and so would in the morning. Late at night means you like to be awake when other people aren't, and that may not be a trait they're looking for, except maybe for security guards. So, do you have your answer for number 1? Great. Let's move forward to number 2. You usually walk, and this is tied with body language also, fairly fast with long steps, fairly fast with short, quick steps, less fast, head up, looking the world in the face, less fast, head down, or very slowly. Why are they looking at this? And when would they look at this? Actually, your interviewer watches you walk from the door to the table where you sit down, or the chair where you're going to sit down for your interview. So they can actually gauge this. And it's going to show confidence. If you're walking with your head down, or you're walking with short, quick steps, are signs of being too nervous. And the confidence that you show might be something they are looking for. Okay, so if you answered one of the questions 1 and 2, let's move forward to the next 2 questions in the test. When talking to people, you, A, stand with your arms folded. So your arms are across your chest, and you're standing with your arms crossed. Have your hands clasped, so you've got your hands together somewhere. Have one or both of your hands on your hips. Touch or push the person whom you are talking to. Play with your ear, touch your chin, or smooth your hair. This is another body language question. They're going to look at how you're sitting or standing. So how do you do this? It depends. Everybody does it a little bit differently. Best posture would be B. A is supposed to be a closed person and is kind of an angry pose, as is letter C. Letter E shows high levels of nervousness. Okay, so if you got your answer, A, B, C, D, E. All right, let's move on to number 4. When relaxing, you sit with, also body language, your knees bent with your legs neatly to your side by side. Your legs crossed. Your legs stretched out or straight. One leg curled under you, like you've got a leg on the chair and you're sitting on it. Okay, so think about, how do you sit? Answer your question, write it down. If you got it, okay, great. Okay, moving forward. Question 5. When something really amuses you, you react with, also body language question, A, a big appreciative laugh. Ha 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 ha. B, a laugh but not a loud one. Ha ha ha. C, a quiet chuckle. D, just a sheepish smile. 6, also a body language question. When you go to a party or social gathering, you A, make a loud entrance so everyone notices you. B, make a quiet entrance, looking around for someone you know. C, make the quietest entrance, trying to stay unnoticed. All right, have you answered questions 5 and 6? Then we'll move forward to the next slide. Question 7. You're working very hard, concentrating hard, and you're interrupted. Do you A, welcome the break, B, feel extremely irritated, C, vary between these two extremes? So either, yeah, okay, I'm going to stop working, or go away, I'm working, or somewhere in the middle, okay? Number 8, which of the following colors do you like most? A, red or orange, B, black, C, yellow or light blue, D, green, E, dark purple or blue, F, white, G, brown or gray. They do say colors can affect a person's personality. Their favorite color is a picture of their favorite personality. Next slide, number 9. When you are at bed at night and the last few moments before you go to sleep, how are you lying? How you lay down, okay? You lay down, A, stretched out on your back, B, stretched out face down on your stomach, C, on your side, slightly curled, D, with your head on one arm, E, with your head under the covers. Number 10, you often dream that you are A, falling, B, fighting or struggling, C, searching for something or somebody, D, flying or floating, E, you usually have dreamless sleep, F, your dreams are always pleasant. Okay, take a minute and finish answering the questions, and then we'll move forward and we'll look at these answers. Tabulate up your points by looking at the answer you wrote. So, depending on the answer, you would have a different number of points. So, like for number 1, if you answered A, you get 2 points. If you answered B, you get 4 points. If you answered C, you would get 6 points. So take a minute and write down all of your points that you got for this test and add them up together. Okay, now let's kind of talk about what these numbers might mean. This is actually directly tied back. They think that this personality test might point them towards a candidate who is fitting a certain job in a certain way. So the scores. Over 61 means you are a vain egomaniac. This is dangerous. It's dangerous to have someone who always laughs loud or always is very strong and dominant, always has to be the center of attention, unless you have very, very specialized job. If you have many people applying for the same job, this could be grounds for not hiring one. 51 to 60 is still very dominant and adventuresome, but is more of a leader, not self-centered as over 61 would be. So a natural leader. 41 to 50, they call well-balanced, kind, and helpful. 31 to 40, sensible, loyal, practical. 21 to 30, painstaking, practical, cautious. Really, from 21 up to 60, most of the words are positive. Leader, adventure, kind, helpful, balanced, sensible, loyal, practical, painstaking. All of these are positive words, but they would be tied with different jobs. Over 61 and under 20, those are extreme personality types. So under 20 is too shy and nervous. And unless you have a job where you don't want someone talking to other people, this could also be dangerous. It might be hard to fit them into an office chemistry. Okay? So when you're doing an interviewer, the interviewer is listening to what your answers are, but he's also watching what your body is saying and seeing which one of these type of categories he thinks you're going to fit into. Okay, so moving on to the next thing, posture. We had a couple of questions about posture. You had questions about how do you hold your hands and how do you sit. So let's take a look at this. Good posture. Your feet are planted on the floor. You are sitting straight in a chair. Your legs are side by side. Your head is up. Your shoulders are back. These are signs of good posture. Your hands are either clasped in front or clasped in your lap. They actually say, body language experts say, that putting palm to palm is a way that helps calm people. I'm not sure I believe that 100%, but that is one of the things that they say. So maybe you could sit like that, and it might help calm you down while you're in a high-stress situation like a job interview. Next, posture don'ts. All right, let's take a look at some of these posture types, and you will see that they can be considered dangerous. First of all, you'll see the man with the yellow curly hair and the purple in the top left-hand side of the screen. This man is leaning back and forth, sort of like a grandfather clock's arms, swinging back and forth and back and forth. This tick-tock movement is showing lots and lots of nervousness, which to the point where it could be distracting for the person who is interviewing you. The next person is leaning over to the side. It seems like he is not as awake. They even drew the eyes kind of sleepy, and that's because that kind of leaning movement is kind of a sleepy movement. The next one is looking up at the sky. Looking up at the sky can actually make you look unsure of yourself. This is the woman in the green shirt. Next to her, blue tie with the yellow-green shirt and the brown curly hair. He cannot sit still. He is always constantly moving and wiggling. This is going to show a sign of possibly attention deficit. People do this, and also people who are so nervous, maybe too nervous. Another posture thing is swinging your hips or some part of you back and forth like you're doing a hula dance. Rubbing your hands together, or making your hands into a fist can also be bad signals to the interviewer. Obviously, please look at the person you're talking to, at least in his general direction. Don't be looking out the window or at the ceiling or at the floor when you're talking. And don't sit with your body so stiff that it makes the other person uncomfortable. When someone is so nervous that they can't bend their elbows at all, it makes everyone else around them feel uncomfortable. And you want your interviewer to be as comfortable as possible because it will help you make the good impression that you would like to make. Next, eye contact. Look at the interviewer. Okay? If you're in an interview, look at the interviewer. See what he is thinking about. Try to read him a little bit too. He's trying to read you. It's not against the rules for you to try to read him as well. Also, if you're talking in a presentation or a meeting, look at the group. And we'll talk about presentations later, but this eye contact would also hold true there. Probably move your eyes around the group if you're talking in a group. The next point that we need to think about is gesture. Remember, we said don't be so stiff that you cannot move, and that your arms and body are so stiff that they're by your side completely. It is okay to move when you're talking. If you were to watch me in a live lecture, you would see how much body language is involved. It would make it much easier for you to understand. As it is, I need to have pictures and words on the slides to make me as understandable as I would be just me talking. First picture, you'll see the man holding up 3 fingers. So he's saying either third thing on my list, or it will cost $3, or I will see you in 3 days. But the number 3 is in there, and you can see that. Next, to make emphasis, he's hitting his fist on his hand. I don't really like having a fist in a job interview, but if you're making an emphasis and you just take it and do it once and then relax it again, that would be fine. Bottom left-hand corner, you can see he has his hands, and he's using his hands to talk about a distance or how far apart things are. And in the far right-hand picture, you'll see him, it looks like he's opening a jar of some kind, maybe pickles or peanut butter. But the gestures can actually tell you some information. Looking at these pictures, you can guess a little bit of what the man is talking about. So numbers, I have 3 reasons. First step, second step, third step, moving phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. All of these are going to be showing numbers and sequencing. So first, second, third, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I have 3 reasons. You're giving a visual reference to go along with your words, and this is where body language aids communication so much. Just like the pictures and the words in this video should help you understand what I'm saying. Emphasis or focus. First picture, he's got 1 finger up. Our product is unique. He's making a statement, a very strong statement. So he's trying to emphasize it by holding his hand up in the air with his finger pointing. The next person, when he's hitting it, the point I want to emphasize is he hits his hand down, and he should relax that fist afterwards. The key point here is, and you'll notice that her left arm is actually gesturing towards the screen. This is very good because it draws the people's attention to the picture, which goes with the words that you're talking about. Illustrations and locations are other ways you can do this, is actually help spread it. My TV screen is this big, or I once caught a fish this big, for instance, might be some ways to do it. It's shaped like this. Well, make the shape with your hands. It can help you to communicate what you're trying to say. Also, if you stumble over a word that way, they at least have the visual reference to understand what you're saying. It is located in the top right-hand corner, and he's moving his hands in that direction. Twist like this. The dotted line, that's that jar I was talking about on the previous slide, earlier slide. And you can see he's opening a jar. It's in the middle. Point to the middle. Pull it apart like this, and you can see she's got her hands, and they're moving away from each other like she's pulling something apart. It's on the left. Swing the hands to the left. The new notebook computer is very thin. Show how thin with your hands. These items can be very, very good because they emphasize the words that you're saying, and this makes it so much easier for you to be understood. Comparing things, both sides should be equal. Your hands are at the same height. One is higher than the other. Lift one hand higher than the other and talk about it. On one hand there's this, on the other hand there's this. You have your two hands off on the sides and you're kind of like you're balancing something. If something's increasing, move your hand in an upward arc. In the case of China, in the case of Brazil, if you swing your hands from one side to the other, it actually will show. In this case, so you kind of create a visual reference. Over here is when you're going to talk about China. Over on the other side is going to be about Brazil. And as you talk about the two, you would move to that side to help with a visual reference that goes with that country. These are different. Move your hands apart to show how they are not in the same group. Now, interviews. There are 10 rules about interviews, and then there are several rules about don't do during interviews. So let's take a look at these. Number 1, keep your answers brief and concise. Brief and concise is 2 to 3 minutes, not 5 seconds, okay? But don't keep rambling on and on for 10 minutes, okay? Answer the question. Give enough information that they can follow it, and if they want more, they will ask you a follow-up question. Include concrete, quantifiable data. So if they ask you about something like what was the best experience you ever had, tell them where it happened. Okay? It happened in Chicago at the whatever the name of the hotel would, at the Modern Art Museum, okay? I was looking at this painting, so give them things that they can actually check. Keep trying to repeat your strengths and support those strengths with your accomplishments. Part of what you're doing with your answers to the interview questions is you are selling yourself, not as a slave, but you're selling your brand to this company. You want the company to want to hire you. You want them to want to hire you more than maybe you want to work there. That's the ideal situation because that gives you some power to choose which company. Okay? Have some stories ready, some stories about when you were successful. Groups that you did, group work that you did, a project that you did for a class, something that you have done that you're proud of at university, maybe being promoted in your part-time job. Have some of these stories ready and don't always use the same story. So you're going to have more than one question in a job interview. It looks really bad if you talk about, oh yeah, the time that I won the Holt Award or something. And you always talk about the Holt Award. Yes, that is a very good success story, but is that all you did while you were in university? Probably not. Put yourself on their team. What I mean by this is you want them to want you to be a part of their group too. And if you want to be there, and you want them to want you to be there. So you're part of their team. And so if they ask you a question about the company, well, if I get hired at this company, I will make sure that I work together with the other members in my team. Okay, emphasizing how you are a team player and that you want to be part of their company. Number 6, dress appropriately. There is nothing worse than seeing t-shirts and a blue jeans in a job interview. If you're a guy, wear a shirt and tie. If you're a woman, wear business professional clothes. It can be slacks or a skirt or a dress, but wear something that looks good, but not date good. So don't wear the latest fashion, wear the latest business fashion. Number 7, ask questions. These questions can be about the company, like, well, if you hired me, what exactly would my duties be? Things like that are very good. It shows that you're thinking about the company and how you would fit into the company. Do not ask about money, but otherwise ask some questions about the company. Maintain a conversational flow, so keep talking. Don't make the interviewer do all the work. Research the company and the job. Know what you're applying for. Know what the company makes and what they do. Maybe even throw some of this out into your questions. Well, I noticed that last year you opened a new line of cosmetics, and I was wondering if you were going to keep developing new ones, or if that was something, if that brand was going to be something that you were going to highlight for a number of years. Wow, you read about that. You read about our company. Looks good. That's putting yourself on the team also. Number 10, keep an interview journal. After you get done with the interview, write down what questions they asked you. If they ask them, another company could ask them. I have had students come back after I've done some job-related things where, like, I gave a list of interview questions and we talked about them in class. And funny thing was, some of the exact questions I had on my list were asked to them in job interviews. And they were like, teacher, they asked me question number 7. And I'm like, great. You had a good answer ready, right? And they're like, yes, it was wonderful. So keep an interview journal. How did you do? What did you talk about? What job experiences? What came into your mind? What kind of questions did you ask? How did you feel about it? What questions did they ask? All of this will help you prepare for the next interview. Most people do more than one job interview before they get hired. Interview don'ts. These are things you should not do going into an interview. Number 1, poor personal appearance. Don't wear a dirty t-shirt and ripped up blue jeans. It will not get you a job. Number 2, lack of interest and enthusiasm. Passive and indifference. The I don't care, even if you have a great resume, I don't care will lose you a job. Too much emphasis on money. How much money will you pay me? When's the first raise? How much money? Okay, this is not what they want. They want somebody who's interested in the company as a worker, not as someone who's only there for a paycheck. Criticism of a past employer. Do not complain about your part-time job bosses, even if they were bad. If they directly ask you who was your worst boss, maybe you could get into that type of story a little bit, but turn around those questions around and try to make them positive. So don't talk bad about past employers. They don't like this because they're afraid that when and if you leave their company, you'll do the same thing to them. Poor eye contact with an interviewer. They want to see that you are looking at them and are showing interest, and looking at them is one way to do that. Being late for an interview is also really bad. Unless there is a very, very good excuse, it is going to hurt you. Failure to express appreciation for interviewers' time. So at the end of the interview, you should probably say, thank you very much for your time and your interest in me. Hopefully I'll be able to work with this team in the future, kind of thing. That is very, very good. Also, another interview don't ask no questions. So if you don't ask any questions, they won't see your interest as much. Next, unwillingness to relocate. Some companies have locations all around the country or all around the world, and they might be looking for someone to work in Busan or Jeju or Vietnam or the Philippines. They like to hire these jobs out of college because most people coming out of college are not attached yet. They're not married, they don't have children, and they want to reward their older employees with the, headquarters jobs because they're senior and they actually have earned them. You will not start off in a headquarters job. You'll probably start off out in the field kind of thing. Number 10, indefinite answers to a question. So, why did you leave this company? I didn't like it. That's like you're dodging that question, and that is not a smart move. Answer, I left that company because I had a conflict with the boss, and so I decided to leave it because he wanted me to work more hours than I was willing to work. I thought that my priority should be school while I was getting my degree. Next, overbearing, aggressive, conceited, know-it-all, complex. Basically, there are some people who go into interviews and you have to hire me, I am perfect. They don't want to hear that. They are looking at how you can fit into their team. They don't want someone who will hurt the team. So if you come across as a person who is not a team player, you won't get the job. Inability to express self clearly, poor voice, poor diction, poor grammar. Speak up, don't be shy. Okay? Lack of planning for career, no purpose, no goals. Okay, this goes back to asking questions again. Lack of confidence and poise. Okay, nervous, ill at ease. If you're too nervous, they expect people to be nervous because this is getting a job, and it's not easy to get a job, but if you're so nervous, you could lose the job that way. Failure to participate in activities. So if you have no other activities, volunteer work, whatever, it's hard to get a job. And finally, an interview don't is expecting too much too soon. You will not be a senior vice president when you are first hired into a company. You will more likely to start off in the mailroom. Okay? All right. A few more. Making excuses, being evasive, hedges on unfavorable factors on record. Just answer it. When you answer something that's not nice in your record, talk about what you learned from it. Turn it into a positive. A lack of tact, a lack of courtesy, being ill-mannered, a lack of vitality. So if you don't look alive, a lack of maturity. They're looking for these things. They want people who are courteous, tactful, vital, alive, mature. These are the people that they want on their team. Number 22, sloppy application form. Take the time and fill it out right. It doesn't take that much. If you can't do that, they'll wonder if you'll do this with your work. No interest in company or interest, okay? We talked about that one before. Being cynical and having prejudices that are too strong or that go against what the company is looking for. These are 25 interview don'ts.